Time. So, listen, in the history of the league, if I have the best big scorer, Kevin Durant, and the best small scorer, Kyrie Irving, usually you can win a title. I don't love their bench. I don't know if their coach is a good coach. I don't know what their chemistry is like. What do you make of Brooklyn? What do you make? Like last night, Kyrie was the best player on the planet in the first 20 minutes, and Kevin Durant was the best player late. What do you make of Brooklyn?
I think I told you, I feel like 2-3 years, the next 2-3 years, when they get a Ben Simmons, they will be my favorite to come out the East and have a chance to win multiple NBA titles. Can they get that done this year with just them two guys? I don't think it can happen. The road's going to be too tough. They're not good enough defensively. I don't necessarily know if they got the right coach that's going to be able to get them over the hump. And then there are others. When you been the championship team, your others have to be really good. I think they got a good role player in Bruce Brown. I think who fits in really well with them. But is Drummond and Claxton going to do what they did last night? They were terrific. They got 29 points from their centers. So are they going to get that on a consistent basis? Curry did not show up last night. I don't think he had a field goal last night. So their supporting cast is going to be huge for them. I don't think they can get it done this year. They're just not good enough defensively for me.
All right. So I thought the Clippers were going to win last night. Tip of the cap to Minnesota. I don't think they're going to win a series, but I think they're fun. I'm happy for their fans. Ant's a great player. You played with Ty Lue. I think he's a really good coach. I think the team's interesting. I'm fascinated with this, though. Steve Ballmer's the richest owner in the league. He loves basketball, Antoine. He's totally into it. He's not going to sit around and be an 8 seed. And when they get knocked out of the playoffs by the Suns, I wonder if he moves off Paul George, Kawhi. I wonder what he does. What is your guess on what he does? Because he is not a guy that's going to sit around and wait for guys to get healthy year after year.
I think you have to. I think he's going to bring it back one more time. I think the trade they had during the season, bringing in Norman Powell and Rob Covington, they will obviously have to. Rob Covington, I think, will be a free agent in the summer. So hopefully they're able to sign him back. But I think they want to run him back. I think that trade was giving them some more stability, adding to their bench by bringing those guys in, and they'll be ready. They'll be ready and poised for a championship run. You have to see this through and get Paul George and Kawhi at least 1 year together and see if they can get it done.
Yeah. So your finals prediction. Now, I like old teams because older players have been in that weight room longer. They're more physical. The refs swallow the whistle in the playoffs. They swallow it. And so the big, the old guys on the good teams kind of muscle their way. But your finals prediction, you like one of the upstart teams. So tell everybody your final prediction.
Well, in the East, I like the Bucks to come out again. And in the West, I like Memphis. I just think it's remarkable what they were able to do this year. One, without Ja Morant in the lineup, when you think about they go 20-2 or 21-2 without him in the lineup. And I just think they got a certain swagger, a certain energy level, a certain toughness about them that other teams don't have. They're not scared to play anybody. If you watch this team closely, they just grew on me as the season went along. And I think Ja Morant is must-see TV. I think he's terrific. I think having that time off, he got rest. Even though I know he was injured, but he got rest. He looked great in those 2 games. He came back, looked fresh, and back to normal. So I like where they're at right now. I think Dylan Brooks coming back gave them another guy of toughness, another guy that can score the basketball. I think they got all the ingredients to win.
So I said with the Lakers mess is that I could not bring it back for another year because Westbrook's gotten toxic. I mean, the fans are all over him here. I think he lacks self-awareness. What he thinks he is and what he is are two different things, and stubborn and toxic. You can have issues in a locker room. Some guys don't work as hard. Some guys, they're just not as good. I can't do toxic. That just blows up a locker room, right? So, in the NBA, to get rid of Westbrook, you're going to have to take bad contracts, mostly. What would you do if you ran this Lakers mess? What would you do if you were the GM?
First, I'll start up top. I'll talk to LeBron James and see where he's at. You got to start with arguably the best player in the world. You got to talk to him first and where his mindset is at. I think LeBron, if he's about winning championships, then I want to make another go at it. And then secondly, we got to make a major decision. We got to sit down with Anthony Davis, and he's got to get in some type of I wouldn't say he's not workout regimen, but he has to take care of his body. It's a reason why he continually gets hurt, and we know some guys, injuries do happen. They're part of the game, but he has to make a sacrifice. Westbrook, and I'm a Westbrook guy. I know, Colin, you're not, but with Westbrook, he does not fit really well with LeBron and AD. They need shooters around them.
Yes,
and Westbrook does not provide that. So you will have to make a move. And I don't know how much value Westbrook has out there. Obviously, he didn't have a great season this year, but you probably have to move on from Westbrook and try to bring in some type of shooting. Because that's when LeBron's at his best, when he can space the floor. You get him 2-3 guys that can make shots, then LeBron becomes that much better. But Anthony Davis has to take an accountability role, because we thought this team was championship contenders because we thought AD could be a top 5 big man in this league, and he didn't live up to that capability. But he has to play. Can't play 40 games and think you're going to win an NBA title.
By the way, I want to throw this at you. So, I always hear this, and I get tired of it. Oh, the NBA in the old days, it was way better. And my takeaway is, listen, man, it's more international. There's more great shooters and ball handlers than I've ever seen in my life. Even good teams years ago would have 2 or 3 guys on the floor that couldn't shoot. I mean, you could always shoot, but the league's got nothing but skill and ball handlers and size and smart dudes. And, it's just a lot of talent. But increasingly, great players are hurt, and they're hurt a lot. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's recency bias. I don't remember a time now in the playoffs, hopefully most are there. But the injuries and the lack of stars in games is like alarming. We've normalized it. What do you make of all good God, the Clippers didn't have their 2 stars, LeBron and AD. What do you make of the injuries? Is the game changed? Is there rules that can be applied? What do you make of it?
Well, let me answer kind of both questions, what you talked about. The league is in great shape. The league is more better than it was, obviously, back in the day. When you talk about the MVP race, when you think about, we don't talk about LeBron James is not up for MVP, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard. We're not talking about 4 guys that's probably the face of the league. They're not up for MVP. So the league is in great place when you got so many other guys that we're considering for MVP. Now, the other part about it, and I heard you say this, and I kind of started thinking about this. I think it was a couple of days I heard you say this in the show. I think you shorten the season. I think you really thought about it, and I think if you shorten the season, you would get stars to play more. I think the 82-game season is starting to be a grind for them when you include preseason, and I think if you shorten the season, you could probably fix maybe this injury problem. I don't know the number of games that would be sufficient, be sufficient enough, but I think if you shorten the season a little bit, maybe contractually, and you hate to do this, but contractually, unless you have an injury that requires a surgery or something like that, you may maybe put some guaranteed money on top of it to kind of force guys to play. That's maybe something that you can look at. But I think shorten the season, and I saw you had that topic a couple of days ago, and I thought about it. I'm saying that might be the solution.
Yeah, Antoine Walker. It's great seeing you, my man. I'm going to Chicago, by the way, tomorrow. I'm going to be in Chicago.
Bring some good weather, man. I'm going to Atlanta though, so bring some good weather.
All right, Antoine Walker, 3-time All-Star, NBA champ with the Heat. No, it's and I can hear fans thinking, well, why should we shorten the season? First of all these seasons are too long. My belief has been in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early part of this century,